Hey internet, so you may have noticed that I've been a little bit MIA recently, and by that I mean I haven't uploaded a video in 2 weeks, maybe even 3. I did try. Basically you'll see in my October vlog how epically it failed and why, but basically the first week it got to Thursday and I realized it was Thursday and then I hadn't made a video, so instead of rush and make a shit video, I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna give myself the week off. I had so much uni due and all sorts of things, so I just had a week off. And then I got to week 2 and I sat down to make my video, and that's the part that's in my vlog, which is quite funny. But basically everything went wrong, and again, I was just like, whatever, I'll have another week off. And I'm surprised at how cash I've been about it, because usually I'm so like, oh my god, I need to do a video a week. So this week I'm still really stressed about uni because exams are due soon and I'm doing my last assignment that's due this week. It's week 13. Then I get a week off for a study break and then yeah, exams. So I'm just living for the end of the year. Like, I cannot wait for this semester to be finished because I have hated every second of it. Okay, not every second, but I've pretty much hated it. It's been a really stressful one. So I'm really keen for it to be over. So I thought, what better video to make than a study tips video? So tip number 1 is to always be organized, which I know is easier said than done, but at the end of the day, if you go to every lecture and every tutorial semi-prepared, like you've pre-taken notes or you've at least looked at the lecture slides and seen what you're learning about, you'll save yourself so much pain. One thing one of my friends told me about that I wish I'd known about sooner is this thing called OneNote. It's a Microsoft program. It's pretty much like Word, except you can just, it's all in one document and you have like all tabs for different subjects and different weeks. Pop you onto my laptop screen here. So yeah, it is called OneNote. I guess that's the point, there's only one note. And so basically, yeah, I gave it a test here. So you have like, you can add things here, all your subjects, and then you can add all your weeks, and then you just type your notes, and then it's all in one place and it's so much easier to do. You can set to-do lists, important stuff, highlight, all of that jazz. So I found that really helpful, rather than, I see some people take physical notes in lectures and I just don't know how you can do that or how that's like efficient, because if you go into, like, most lectures give you the lecture slides before the lecture, and I know like who has time to like go through all the lecture slides and take detailed notes? Not me, as much as you're probably thinking like this bitch totally does. I don't have time. But what's worse is it's week 7 and you're still catching up on week 3 because you haven't been taking notes. So you need to find a study habit that keeps you on top of it every week, because the moment that you skip a day of uni or you fall behind in any way, you're always gonna be behind because you're never gonna catch up. You're never gonna find the time. And then you get it in your head that you can skip other days and then it's a lost cause. So to make yourself more organized, you definitely need like some kind of wall calendar in your room. I've got this one from Magazine, which has been really helpful this year. It just sets up the whole year. I could write when exams were due, when assignments were due, and I'll definitely get another one for next year. I also bought this little weekly desk kind of like notepad thing from Kmart, and you just kind of jot in all little things for that week. I haven't been using it as much lately, but it is really helpful if you're more of like that kind of person that wants to jot things down in front of you. That's a really good idea. Having a diary or a planner is obviously a great way to be organized. I just have my little bullet journal where I set out the month. So this is my October. It is hectic. And so I've just kind of color coded stuff. It's very messy because I'm a messy gal. But then yeah, and then I set out my weeks and write stuff in each week. I've also bought my 2019 diary already, and it's so motivational and looks so amazing. So I'm super excited to use that. But the key is organization. You need to have somewhere where you can write things down. Even like in that OneNote thing, you can write when they say like, don't forget in task 3, this is gonna come up, and you can like make a note of that. So when you're going back, it's easier to look at. Also, when you're studying for exams, you already have your cheat sheet. You don't need to take time going back into the lectures, taking notes on things that you think might come up, because you've already got a sheet and you've already marked where they've said, this might come up in the exam. So you're all good to go. Another tip is to have a very strict study schedule, or SSS, triple S. I kind of like set certain blocks of time aside, and that is my study schedule / session. So if I finish work at 2 on Saturdays, then I make sure that from 3 till 5, I give myself those 2 hours to like really dedicate to study. Obviously, again, easier said than done. I procrastinate so much. We all do. One way I've found that really helps with procrastination is to do the 20-10 rule. So you do complete dedicated study for 20 minutes and then you have 10 minutes break, and vice versa, and you keep going. And there's lots of different scientific methods on this of different times, work better for different people, and all sorts of information out there. So find what works for you and definitely utilize that, because it can be super helpful. And it just breaks up your day a bit so you don't feel like you're doing uni constantly, and then you have that 10 minutes to know that you can procrastinate and you can watch a video or you can go get food or whatever. I also heard on a podcast, it's called The Health Code. If you haven't heard of YouTuber Sarah's Day and her boyfriend Kurt, I think I've mentioned them in the previous videos, but I love them. And they do a podcast called The Health Code. And one of their career videos, they were talking about how apparently if you stop halfway through something, it's so much easier to pick up where you left off when you come back, rather than if you've written a paragraph and you finish that paragraph and then you go and have a break, it's so much harder to motivate yourself to come back and start that new paragraph again. So rather than do that, if you stop halfway through a paragraph, your mind like will more easily read the last sentence you wrote and be like, okay, cool, that's where I was on, and keep going. Does that make sense? I hope so. They did like a whole podcast on it, but I'm just very briefly touching on it. Just thought it was a cool concept. Definitely give yourself a half an hour lunch break if you're doing a whole day thing, and be strict on the time. Make sure it's only half an hour. First of all, like, it's good to have snacks and like food nearby, because you're gonna get hungry and you're gonna use that as an excuse to go and eat. So if you know you have a set time for a lunch break, then that's gonna be what you're looking forward to. But also if you have little snacks, then that'll keep you going until that lunch break. And then in your head, it's almost like more of a job. Remove yourself from distractions. So I have the cutest little study area in my room, but sometimes studying in my room just isn't helpful, because I guess my brain associates my room with relaxation and YouTube videos and chilling. And I've heard a lot about that you associate certain rooms with certain things. So I come out here to my dining room and I lay out on the big table. When I have heaps of textbooks, I'll like lay them all out, and that is just so much more beneficial for my studying, because I never come to the dining room. So this in my head is study space. Also a really nice view, like when it's a nice day, I just open these doors and look out onto the pool and the sun and the blue sky. And yes, I would rather be just there with my butt out, but I'm not. So make sure you find your best place to study. Try not to make it things like, I know my friend takes her laptop to the beach because she just wants to be at the beach, but like, let's be real, are you gonna get that much work done on the beach? No, Holly, you're not. So you need to go somewhere that you can focus, away from noise preferably. I'm lucky today because nobody's home, but sometimes if my brother's home or if my mum's home, I tend to like use them as a distraction and chat to them, or be like, yeah, cool, I'll come with you to the shops, when really I shouldn't be. Music doesn't help everybody study. I used to be the worst person like for listening to music at the weirdest times. Like, I could not listen to music and study. I always found it really distracting. But recently I discovered some Spotify playlists that are called Focus. So if you just go into the Focus genre, there's all these playlists that are just made to help people study and help people concentrate. And they're awesome. Like, it depends what mood you're in. You can change it up. You can have some like songs where people are singing, like well-known songs, or there's ones of just instrumental, or there's really chill ones. And surprisingly, my playlist that is like, just helps me get the best out of my study is like hardcore house music, I'd call it. It's like real like electronic, like, what's the genre? I don't even know. Like electronic dance music, literally. It's like doof, 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 that kind of music. I don't even really like that kind of music unless like I'm at a club, obviously. But for some reason, this specific playlist, I've never studied better. So have a go, like have a flick through some, choose one that you like if you can study with music. If not, totally fine. But that's just really helped me, surprisingly. And make sure that you have the right equipment. I personally am such a stationery nerd. I realize that this video is making me just sound like the lamest fucking person ever. But me and my best friend are obsessed with stationery, and buying yourself beautiful new pastel colored highlighters at the start of the year just makes you want to study, because you want to get those bad boys out. Make sure you have pens, make sure you have a decent working laptop, everything's updated. Maybe even if you don't need to use the internet to research, turn it off so you're not tempted. And oh my god, make sure that your phone is nowhere near you. I'm the worst at this. And lastly, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Make sure you're putting in the hard yards so that you're getting the most out of your degree, or even if it's something you're studying for that isn't uni related, put your all into it. Make sure that you do set aside some time. Sometimes it's hard, but you just have to say no to things, like if there's heaps of parties on the week of exams, sadly, you just have to say no to some of them sometimes. And that's easy for people like me, whose ideal Saturday night is like movies, Elio chocolate, a cup of tea, and cuddling with my dog. But overall, make sure that you don't stress yourself out. At the end of the day, what's the worst that can happen? Obviously, you don't want to fail, but if you follow these simple tips, you shouldn't. You should be all good. Make sure you do give yourself breaks and don't be so hard on yourself. I'm sure you will do the best that you possibly can, and that is good enough. So I hope this video has been helpful. I feel like I've just kind of rambled at you for ages, but I do hope that you got some good tips out of this. I have just found them pretty helpful, and I feel like I've got the studying thing semi under control now. Finding motivation is a whole nother video, but I hope that you are motivated, because at the end of the day, whatever you do today just helps you towards your future, and your future self will thank you. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I promise I'm pretty much back now, especially since uni's nearly over. Good luck on your exams if you do have any. I know here in Australia we're kind of coming up to our study period and exam period. So good luck to everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!